this is an insane questioning done by Tom Cotton, where the Pentagon and the position of the Biden administration, like they said many times before, that there's no evidence of genocide in Gaza, which is an absolutely insane thing to say. But let's watch this clip.
Secretary Austin, thank you for acknowledging in response to Senator Wicker that Hamas committed war crimes on October 7th and has been committing them every day since by using human shields. I want to address what the protesters raised earlier. Is Israel committing genocide in Gaza?
Senator Cotton, we don't have any evidence of genocide being created.
So that's a no. Israel's not committing genocide in Gaza.
We don't have evidence of that.
See, Tom Cotton is not even happy with his answer necessarily. The only correct answer, and it's coming from a neutral point of view, the real answer is say, yeah, Israel's committing genocide. But and I'm taking myself out of this because even if you're a statesman, and I put myself in this position, if you're not a complete piece of shit, you respond with, well, the International Court of Justice, which we recognize, have found that Israel is plausibly committing a genocide. So that's the position that we take. That's like that's what you would expect from a rational statesman, right? They can't even say that. Our government is demanding us to ignore the evidence that our eyes is seeing. Don't listen to the evidence that we are hearing. It's the most important and final demand. The final and most important demand of you. You guys know what I'm referencing there. I kind of butchered it, but let's watch this part again. I'm going to let it play some more. I'll play it from the beginning.
Austin, thank you for acknowledging in response to Senator Wicker that Hamas committed war crimes on October 7th and has been committing them every day since by using human shields. I want to address what the protesters raised earlier. Is Israel committing genocide in Gaza?
Senator Cotton, we don't have any evidence of genocide being created.
So that's a no. Israel's not committing genocide in Gaza.
We don't have evidence of that, to
Thank
my
you.
knowledge. Yeah.
Better than Director Burns and Director Haynes did last month at the Intelligence Committee when they dodged that question. You stand accused by those protesters of greenlighting genocide. Would you like to respond to that accusation?
What I would say, Senator Cotton, from the very beginning is that we committed to help assist Israel in defending its territory and its people by providing security assistance. And I would remind everybody that, what happened on October 7th was absolutely horrible. Numbers of Israeli citizens killed, and then
okay. I try to let it play as long as I could. You just heard Anthony Blinken say this very. I don't have the footage, man. I wish I did. I saw it earlier when I was doing my news prep, where Anthony Blinken essentially said the same thing when he was asked about genocide. He said it's a neutral bullshit. And they said, you guys got to remember October 7th. You guys got to remember all the innocent Israelis that was killed. Okay. So for the sake of argument, I'm taking myself and my ideology out of it, guys. I can go on a spill about how Israel actually killed all the civilians. Hamas claims they didn't target civilians. They target military infrastructure. And reports shown that it was the IDF and their Apache helicopters that killed the civilians, not Hamas. But let me take my ideology out of it for simplicity's sake. You guys realize that if everything you guys say about Hamas is true, if everything and all the lies that you say about October 7th is true, that still does not give Israel permission to commit war crimes. Do you guys understand that international law does not give an exception for revenge? So if my radical politics scare you guys off and you just watch because you're curious, you can always take that line for these crazy psychopaths in the West because everyone does it. Hey, man, what are your thoughts about Israel killing children? What's your thoughts on Israel committing humanitarian law? Hey, man, do you know that Hamas started on October 7th? Okay, Ignore my politics. I'm taking myself completely out of this, guys. Let's assume everything they say is correct. They are still wrong. If everything you believe is true about Hamas, Lloyd Austin, that does not give you an exception on international law for revenge. The amount of people in the West that don't understand this is insanity. You can't use starvation as a tool of war, even if you're seeking revenge. Do you guys understand? You cannot engage in collective punishment, even if Hamas is evil. Do you guys understand this? It's insane what our society has become. And this is why I say they are the terrorists, because I am the only people. Well, not the only people. I'm getting tired. We're the only channel at RBN who actually define what a terrorist is. Everyone use terms they can't define it. They can't define authoritarianism. They can't define terrorism. They can't define Marxism. They can't define socialism. We're the only people who know what fucking words mean. And we don't got college degrees. A terrorist is someone who believes that there's no red lines when it comes to taking out their enemy. Which means they will do stuff like suicide bombing in front of a ton of civilians. You know what I mean? They may take an airplane and fly into a building. This is what terrorism is. Even if we disagree with the West, no one will disagree with terrorist acts. It's when you're resisting again, when you don't care about general. There's no red lines. That is what a terrorist is. That is what the West is. That is what they openly admit who they are every single day. That is what Lloyd Austin admit right here. Yes, we are facilitating genocide, but do you see what happened on October 7th? We got to have revenge. Since we got to have revenge against our enemies, we can do whatever it takes, even if it means bombing children. Even if it means bombing hospitals, even if it means killing journalists, even if it means killing aid workers, even if it means killing Americans, we can do whatever we want. Guys, that's the terrorist. Show me another channel that defines it for you. Don't worry, I'll wait. But while we wait, let's continue this clip.
And, numbers of Israeli citizens killed, and then a couple of hundred Israeli citizens taken hostage.
American citizens as well.
American citizens as well.
So you deny the accusation that you greenlit genocide?
I absolutely deny.
Okay. For the record, I don't think Israel's committing genocide. I don't believe you greenlit genocide either.
You guys see how this shit works? I believe Israel not committing genocide. I believe that there's a genocide of Muslims in China, the Uyghur genocide that no one can track. You know, the same Uyghur genocide the Associated Press launched an investigation and found there was no evidence of. The same Uyghur genocide that the Trump administration launched a probe into and they couldn't find any evidence of. They believe, they have faith that genocide is real, but they believe that this is not a genocide, even though we are seeing dead babies. Now that we're seeing Gaza, now people know how fucking ridiculous it was that China was committing a secret genocide that no one can track. Can everyone acknowledge how fucking ridiculous that was? And how I debunked that. The quote-unquote techies debunked that. The Marxists and the communists, we're the only one who had the bravery to debunk this bullshit. Big shout out to the Gray Zone as well. The Gray Zone, I give them a shout out because they done great reporting on this. Great reporting done from Black Agenda Report as well. And if you if you talk to anyone who repeat the Uyghur genocide bullshit, just remember the Trump administration launched a very extensive probe, and even they who wanted to find evidence of a genocide couldn't do that. And how could China hide a genocide? You guys see Israel can't hide a genocide, and they blacked out electricity. They killed journalists, and they still can't hide it. Every single journalist from CNN, BBC, NPR, they all have to report to the IDF. Do you guys know that? Every single journalist report on the genocide in Gaza, they had to submit everything to the IDF before they report on it. Nice authoritarianism for you. Despite that, Israel still can't hide the genocide, but people believe there's a genocide in China. You guys see how these people, the vast majority of our country, run based on faith? Faith-based. We believe Israel not committing genocide. This is why Americans are antithetical. This is why they hate and despise Marxism. This is why I fuck with Marxism, because Marxism is not faith-based. It's a scientific understanding of our politics and our environment, losing material analysis, dialectical materialism. It's a scientific, fact-based approach towards life. It is very scientific. The majority of our society, and Tom Cotton, a guy who's elected senator, their entire ideology is fact-based. I mean, not fact-based, faith-based. Oh, Jesus. Let's finish the video up.
You talked a lot with Senator Reid about Israel's responsibility to provide aid in Gaza. Why does Israel have a responsibility to provide aid to Gaza? Israel was the victim of an unprovoked, vicious attack on October 7th. Why should they provide aid to their aggressor nation? Or aggressor, Gaza's not a nation, to the aggressors on October 7th.
This is a senator who don't even understand international law. He don't understand that it's the obligation of the occupier to provide food and feed the people they're occupying. He don't understand that it's a war crime to engage in collective punishment and using starvation as a tool of war. He's asking this question like, what? We gotta follow rules? You guys see this rebelling? This is the theme of this show tonight. You guys see how the West is rebelling against the concept of international law that have been long since established? Which is why what South Africa and what Nicaragua is doing is extremely important, because they are challenging the West on this. They are putting these cases to these people's face and demanding an answer from the West. Is international law real or is it not? But sorry, I keep saying I'm gonna finish it, but man, this shit is so hard to get through. But for a second, I really do need to finish this. I'm gonna show you guys smart enough to the bun. I swear to God, I'll finish it this time. There's so much bullshit, man. So much bullshit.
On October 7th. Why should they provide aid to the aggressor nation or aggressor? Gaza's not a nation, to the aggressors on October 7th. We didn't provide aid to Germany and Japan during World War II.
Oh, Jesus.
What we did provide aid to and assistance to many of the countries that we've operated in recently.
But not in World War II. If you had been in George Marshall's or Dwight Eisenhower's position in World War II, would you have wanted to provide aid to Germany?
I really do believe, Senator, that if they want to create a lasting effect and in terms of stability, then I think that something needs to be done to account to help the Palestinian people.
I get that, but they're in the middle of the war. Like we believe that too after World War II. That's why we had the Marshall Plan. That's why we rebuilt Japan. But that was after the war was won, not in the middle of it. And in the meantime, like it's not Israel's responsibility to provide aid. It's certainly not our responsibility, but we're spending our tax dollars to build this giant pier to send aid into Gaza. Who's going to accept that aid? Who's going to be at the end of the pier on the shore taking aid from American forces?
That's still being worked out, but there will be NGOs that will help to distribute that aid.
That Hamas is in charge of Gaza. When aid goes to Gaza, Hamas doesn't divert it or commandeer it or steal it. It accepts it. And anybody operating in Gaza is under the thumb of Hamas. I just think it's very ill-considered, and I don't think it's going to end very well.
So Tom Cotton is advocating ripping up the Geneva Conventions that we wrote after World War II to make sure that the tragedies of World War II and wars before that, because not only just World War II, it was intellectuals coming together. Like, how can we prevent humanitarian crises in war crimes like that happened in the past? Tom Cotton is essentially saying that we should rip that shit up. Like, you know, the whole concept of international law and the obligation of occupying powers. Come on, man, fuck it. This is a senator, my friend. They're not. I didn't pick some weirdo out. This is a fucking senator. But people believe the United States is not a terrorist country. This is a senator that is rejecting the concept. He's not arguing intellectually against the laws. Like, this is why we should have this law, we should have this law. He's not doing that. He's arguing against the concept of international law. The concept of the fact that you're not supposed to use starvation as a tool of war. He's like, what the fuck you talking? He's like, you can't use starvation as a tool of war? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You can't use starvation. If I was going to war, I would do that. What are you talking about? You can't bomb the hospitals. I would do it. What do you mean you can't kill the journalists? Like, you guys see what these people, you guys see the ideology of the West? And people vote for this guy. Your family members in Arkansas vote for this guy. This guy he's famous, crazy, but my senator, Josh Hawley, had the same ideology. You pick any 50 Republican senator, they have the same fucking ideology as this guy. Americans vote for these people to the tune of millions. So once again, I reject liberalism. I believe people should take personal responsibility. I think that you should take responsibility in your community. We need to take responsibility for the reality that we live in right now. So I am demanding Americans take responsibility. I am demanding you guys your family take responsibility. You guys got family members who vote for these people. You're not having conversations about it? At what point do we start the holding people accountable process? Because this shit has gone way too far for me. I don't know about y'all, but this shit's gone way too far. I am pissing a lot of people off. Guys, I'll be seeing people fucking salty ass tears complaining about my anti-American tweets, and I'll just be smiling. I fucking love that bootlicking Americans despise, like a few bootlicking Americans despise my politics of relentlessly holding our government accountable. You know how many people on Twitter told me, if you don't like it, you should get out? Always ratio them every single time. Always respond like, no, I'd rather piss you guys off. And I know you guys are generally beta cucks who would leave if a problem got too hard. But I have family here. I would love to leave the United States. I would love to live in Brazil, train jiu-jitsu. I'm not one of the Western chauvinists. There are a lot of beautiful places to live. There are a lot of people out there who are happy. I would be more than happy to leave the United States. But I have revolutionary obligation. I have people who are misguided in my family who would never leave the United States. So I have revolutionary obligation to make things better for them. And since I want to make our country better, and I want to do everything it takes, I am the patriot. You guys haven't said how much fun I've been having with these people. They're like, Nick, you're so anti-American. Nigga, I am the patriot. The people who get more upset at me calling out this corruption instead of trying to fix the corruption themselves is not a patriot. They're a traitor. The person who tried to make their country better is the patriot. The person who blindly apologized for the government, which is literally the entirety of the Democrat and Republican Party, they are traitors that are betraying their oath that we are supposed to have as Americans, that we're supposed to hold our government accountable. As our civilians, our job is to hold the government accountable. They work for us, not the other way around. But there are people who unapologetically root for our government to the point where they get upset at us for calling out the government. And I said it many times before, I am so glad I have the dumbest enemies, because I love the fact that that's the criticism I have, that I'm too anti-American. The height of cowardice are the people who don't spend their time criticizing the government that governs them. They criticize other countries. They are fucking cowardly. Okay? They are the scourge. They are the scourge of humanity. They are cowards. And I look forward to having their hate. I want to change the culture where you guys stop spending your fucking time criticizing China, communism, Cuba, DPRK, as you guys live in the most violent, corrupt country in modern human history.